is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Here's a look at our top stories. And we start with the latest on the family dispute that led to a violent shooting at a used car dealership. It happened in Southwest Miami-Dade. Officials confirmed the identity of the gunman. He is 49-year-old Roberto Leyva. He's accused of shooting 34-year-old Eduardo Rivero and 35-year-old Armando Alia. Rivero would later die. We are now getting a glimpse of the chilling moment gunfire went off and nearby children ran for cover. We want to warn you, this may be difficult to watch. Parents had just dropped kids off at cheer practice near the car dealership. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner spoke to one woman who helped the kids get to safety.
Gunfire broke out Thursday afternoon just as a dad is dropping kids off at cheer practice. Seconds later, you can see the 3 kids running down the block. The oldest girl tries the locked front door before they all run around to the other side of the business.
So they were running here. They came running in here as I walked out, and then we went in through this door here. And then we just went upstairs, had them hide on this side of the building.
Donna Carrito works at It's All About the Wow and says she is still shocked. But she said in the moment, her mom mode kicked in.
The little girl was in panic because she didn't know what was happening with her dad. But the 2 older ones, they were pretty calm. And then they kind of were pretty good with just staying back there. I even told them, I'm like, just practice your cheer to get your mind off of things. Like,
Donna said Miami-Dade police used their business to shelter others in the area until the scene was clear. These photos and videos are taken from inside the safe room. You can see the kids looking out the window. Ultimately, Dad came back safe to them.
I had them go look at this window over here on that side, and they said yes. That was their dad.
The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said an active shooter opened fire at Priced Right Motors, killing the company's president, 38-year-old Eddie Rivero, his own half-brother, and injuring another.
I couldn't come out of the office. Everything was on shutdown.
Dax Gonzalez said the gunfire felt endless.
About 15, 20 minutes, give or take. It felt longer.
He took this video of deputies patting people down when the shooting ultimately ended.
No one knows how the day's going to happen. Someone lost their life. A mother now is grieving a lost son, and then one that's more than likely going to end up in jail.
And we will continue to follow any developments on the deadly family dispute. Be sure to stay with us on air and online for any updates.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
The weekend is almost here. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ivan Cabrera.
And for some of us already at the beaches, you're looking good. But again, you want to be careful with the rip current threat that continues. We still have that easterly flow coming off the Atlantic, and that has been favoring and persisting with this rip current threat that not just continues for today, but heading into tomorrow as well. In fact, we'll likely have a moderate threat as we head in through the day on this Sunday, but I think we'll do a little bit better as the winds begin to relax some, and so that will lower the threat. But right now, we still have this alert that continues through the rest of today and into tomorrow. As far as the rest of the weather, looking pretty good here. The temperatures have been nice and quiet, and we have been dealing with just a few fair with the clouds that have been rolling in. In fact, the weekend itself still looking excellent to me. Let's talk about the rain chances here. If you are planning anything outdoors, I still think we're looking pretty good. Rain chances only at 10% tomorrow. And really, I think that is going to be for the lower Keys, particularly down towards Key West, maybe a few showers in the morning. The rest of us are going to stay dry, and there it is. Just very low rain chances continue. Our highest rain chance is on Tuesday, and that's only about 20%. So I think we're looking at pretty good for the next 7 days. Not so good though for the drought, which continues, as you know, to get worse and worse as we continue with this lack of rainfall before our wet season, which doesn't begin until mid-May. So for tomorrow, the plan will be, again, just to watch the conditions on the beaches. If you see that red flag flying, you don't want to get in the water because the ribs are still pretty strong, and they'll be a little bit better as we head in through Sunday. And then the rain chances really you won't have to worry about much as we continue with a relatively quiet pattern here. Isolated showers as we head through the lower Keys. That's where the moisture has really just kind of been concentrating. The rest of us are not going to be seeing much in the way of any rainfall. Any significant rainfall really well up to the north. This is a boundary here, and they've been getting plenty of wet weather. This is for the next 7 days, right? So we'll zoom in onto South Florida, and you see this gaping hole here of rainfall. It's just not much there. And the reason you're seeing a bit of some green along the west coast here is that any showers that do develop, because we have that easterly flow, they'll develop and then they'll push rapidly out of our area here. So as far as accumulation, there's just not going to be much in our forecast over the next 7 days. Plenty of heat though, temperatures in the mid 80s, and with the humidity a little bit high, it'll feel more like 87, 88 through the afternoon, but no big bumps up or down. And that's just an indication of a pattern that is stuck and it's not going anywhere. So the next 7-day forecast will show you pretty much the same deal every day. Minimal rain chances. We'll have high temps in the mid 80s, which is pretty typical for this time of year, and overnight temps stay mild as well in the 70s.
Ivan, thank you. Turning now to the latest on the brush fire in West Broward. Forest Service officials say the fire is 100% contained. The brush fire sparked near US 27 and Griffin Road on Wednesday. It burned more than 500 acres. The fire caused traffic delays in the area. Luckily, no buildings or homes were damaged and no one was hurt. The Trump administration is trying to put pressure on Russia and Ukraine to finalize a peace deal. Negotiations continue today. That's as Russia launched another strike overnight. CBS News Miami's Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
As President Trump left the White House headed for Rome, he described talks between Russia and Ukraine as fragile but coming along.
We're going to try and get out of war so that we can save 5,000 people a week. I think we're pretty close.
President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is in Moscow Friday to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin for a fourth time. It comes as Ukraine says Russia fired more than 100 drones overnight, killing multiple people. An elderly woman and child are reported to be among the victims. Just Thursday, President Trump called for Putin to stop the bombing and said the U.S. is putting pressure on Russia. He was asked what concessions Moscow is prepared to make.
Taking the whole country, pretty big concession.
A major sticking point in negotiations is Crimea, seized by Russia in 2014. In a new interview with Time magazine, President Trump said Crimea will stay with Russia.
They made a decision. There wasn't a bullet fired. There was no fighting. There was no anything. They just handed it over. Now they say, well, can you get it back? I think that's going to be a very difficult thing to do.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov spoke to CBS News Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan about the negotiations.
We are really polite people, and unlike some others, we never discuss in public what is being discussed in negotiations. Otherwise, negotiations are not serious.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said his country will not recognize Russian control of Crimea. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Preparing for the Pope's funeral when we come back. Disgraced former Congressman George Santos was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison today. He pleaded guilty to aggravated identity theft and wire fraud charges. It's from fraudulent activity during his 2022 congressional campaign. Santos became famous for lying about his work history, education, and even religion. He later admitted to campaign finance fraud and lying to Congress. Luigi Mangione pleaded not guilty to all federal charges against him today. The 26-year-old is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. During today's arraignment, his legal team indicated it wants his federal case to go to trial before his state case. Federal prosecutors say they plan to seek the death penalty. Now to our continuing coverage of the death of Pope Francis. We are just hours away from his funeral at St. Peter's Square at the Vatican. New time-lapse video shows thousands of people pouring into the Vatican. It's for one last chance to see the Pope. Pope Francis's body will be moved to St. Peter's Square for the funeral. Thousands are scheduled to attend, including former President Joe Biden and the former First Lady Jill Biden. Biden was the second Catholic to serve as U.S. president. He met Pope Francis on several occasions over the years. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will also attend the funeral. and right now they are on their way to Rome. CBS News Miami's Tina Kraus reports from the Vatican.
Mourners keep filing into St. Peter's Basilica to spend a few final moments in the Pope's presence before his coffin is sealed tonight. How long did you wait in line?
I think it was about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, so not terrible.
Risa and Peter Walsh from Leesburg, Virginia, came to pay their respects.
He was trying to lift up people and bring us together. Yeah.
Humility, yeah, no doubt.
Which
he's a good man.
Which we need more of in this crazy world.
The Vatican says as of noon Rome time, 150,000 visitors paid homage to the 88-year-old who died Monday. The Vatican says the funeral Pope Francis wanted was one of a pastor and not of a monarch, but royalty will attend. 10 monarchs in all, along with 50 heads of state, including President Trump and former President Biden, one of only 2 Catholic U.S. presidents. President Trump spoke fondly of the Pope as he and the First Lady left for Rome.
I met him twice. I thought he was a fantastic kind of a guy.
After the funeral, there will be a nearly 4-mile-long procession to the Basilica of St. Mary Major, where Francis chose to be buried. You know he'll be buried in the other church, only in a simple coffin. What do you think of this?
It's a very beautiful gesture. It's really amazing what he's doing. He's showing that he's not better than anyone. He's just a simple man.
The Vatican says the poor and needy will be waiting on the steps of his favorite church, embracing him in death as he did them in life. Tina Kraus, CBS News, the Vatican.
We will begin live coverage of the funeral of Pope Francis right here on CBS Miami. It starts tomorrow at 3:45 a.m. And that does it for CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a great day.